passing Rouen Cathedral, something almost literally out of Jules Verne. This car can cruise at speeds of up to 70-odd miles an hour. On water. The energy factor, of course, is hydrogen, which, as any schoolboy knows, is contained in water in the ratio of 2 parts to 1 of oxygen. A formula described by Jules Verne more than 100 years ago. So what have we been waiting for? The engine can also power a generator, to provide light and heat. And what's more, it's pollution-free. The car's already run for well over 1,000 miles, and the promoters say the scheme is practical and a commercial proposition. Fuel on tap, in fact. An ordinary day in an ordinary supermarket.
Possible active shooter at the top.
Before Buffalo police rushed to Top's Friendly Market Saturday, there was Aaron Salter, the security guard, killed as he served and protected.
Aaron Salter, 55, retired Buffalo police officer. Loved electric cars.
Loved electric cars.
He built a lab in his garage where he spent countless hours working to develop an engine that could run on water.
That could run on water.
It's not running off a gas fuel? No, there's no gas fuel.
Well, I can't tell you how I use it. I do have a patent pending.
A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
It's a major breakthrough that will no doubt make motorists happy. And as Ralph Robinson explains, the Pentagon is also showing lots of interest in this project.
It's going to be the new platform of technology when oil runs out.
Are we not getting into a gas crisis right now?
The biggest natural resource in the world is water. Once the engineers get a hold to this revolutionary discovery, in no time short, there will definitely be cars running on water. Bottled water will work, and tap water will work. When I show this vehicle running, I almost show people it running because, as I explained to my lawyers, it shouldn't be running. According to the experts.
Well, folks, you heard it yourself from the mouth of Aaron Salters, AWS Hydrogen Alternative Energy System. Signing out. Have a good one. We'll see you, hopefully, driving one of Aaron's new vehicles. Thank you.
Damon John gave me a call, and he told me that he saw that my dad was in a couple photos with him, not physically, but with him at a seminar. And I said, yes, my dad's a big fan of yours. We watched Shark Tank, and he was an inventor. He had an idea, and we were just talking, and he was telling me how sorry he was about what happened and how his heart goes out to us. And he just was asking me what I could use at this time, and I explained to him a little bit about what was going on with the funeral, and he told me that he wouldn't have a problem doing that someone would be in touch. Towards the end of the conversation, he said, in the future, like, if you guys need anything, don't hesitate to reach back out to me and give me a call, because I'm here for you. So, it was a real good conversation.
And the reason I'm bringing him up is because there's a connection between him and a man named Stanley Myers. Back in 1998, March 21st, 1998, a man by the name of Stanley Myers was meeting with these guys to fund a project of his. He had created a water-powered engine. And he started creating this engine back in 1975, right around the time of the Great Gas Crunch, the gas crisis.
I don't care if you use rainwater, well water, city water, ocean water. If you don't have any fresh water, go ahead and use snow. If you don't have any snow available to you, they use salt water because there's no adverse effect to the fuel cell.
Myers started working on this project 4 years ago. He's not a scientist. He isn't even a chemist. In fact, he never graduated from college. Myers was determined, he says, to design something to protect this country from oil embargoes.
And we have calculated that if we take the dune buggy from Los Angeles to New York, we would roughly use 22 gallons of water.
The Pentagon flew a lieutenant colonel in last week to look at Myers' invention. There's talk of possibly using it in the Star Wars defense program and to run army tanks. Myers is currently perfecting a water fuel cell for cars. It will cost about $1,500. He says it won't need any maintenance, and you won't have to replace it. It'll be at least 2 years before the fuel system goes into mass production. The day it happens will be one the fuel industry hates, but it'll put a smile on the face of those who've had to say at one time or another, fill her up.
But Stanley Myers was meeting with some guys along with his brother to get funding for his water-powered engine. So they bring him these drinks to the table, and I think it was cranberry juice. He takes a drink. He immediately stands up, starts grabbing his neck. He says, "They poisoned me." He goes out into the parking lot where he eventually died. But before he died, he said, they poison me because I'm working on a water-powered engine. And truth is stranger than fiction. So all these movies you've seen where the government will do this stuff to take somebody out because they were working on something and they make it look like an accident, and real shit will blow that Hollywood shit out of the water.
A conspiracy to kill 5 random people? Ridiculous.
4 random people to hide one specific target.
We see that big oil can buy the politicians who regulate it, have the military pledge allegiance to its interests, be shielded from pollution restrictions, leech off U.S. tax dollars, control mass media, crush alternative energy, and avert punishment for all of the crimes it commits. It is utterly insane that small boardrooms of self-serving billionaires are empowered to act as though the only future that exists is in their stock portfolios. They've been destroying lives and habitats for over a century, and now their unfettered greed is a threat to human civilization itself. Their path towards a tar-covered, uninhabitable dystopia won't be reversed unless the power structure is flipped. We can't fight the rule of oil tycoons without fighting the system of corporate empire that dutifully serves them.
You may all know this man. This man is called Nikola Tesla. And in my opinion, he's one of the brightest minds in the history of science. And he's worked on technologies which not only harvest electricity from the vacuum of space, but also to transmit it wirelessly across the globe for everybody to use freely. And just to quote him here, electric power is everywhere in unlimited quantities and can power the world's machinery without the need for coal, oil, or gas. Isn't that amazing? Well, unfortunately, his primary investor, called J.P. Morgan, he eventually found out that he could not profit from Tesla's ideas. So he simply cut his funding at one point, and Tesla died a rather poor man and without the respect he actually deserved. Now, this is just a list of people who have worked on similar technologies if you're interested and want to do your own research, and I'm just going to name 2 more examples of this list. Next is up is that of Stanley Meyer. You may all know of the possibility to run your car on hydrogen gas. You got the combustible mixture of oxygen and hydrogen. You burn it, it leaves you with excess power to run your car, and the byproduct of just tap water, H2O. Well, Stanley Meyer actually found out a way to use tap water as a fuel source by hitting the water molecule at its resonant frequency and thereby very effectively splitting the water in hydrogen and oxygen. And with this, he built a dune buggy with which he could drive from the east to the west coast of the United States on just 1 full tank of water. At one point, unfortunately, he went out to dinner with his investors, yes, again, investors, and after sipping his cranberry juice, he grabbed his throat, he bolted out the door of the restaurant, he dropped to his knees and cursed that he had been poisoned. And this sounds like something straight from a movie, right? But it's actually real, and you can look up the details yourself. I'll just give one more example, that of an actual working device, currently in Switzerland. And to all you electrical engineers, this may resemble an electrostatic Wimshurst machine. Sounds complicated, but this one actually converts the ambient field energy, or radiant energy as Tesla would call it, into usable electricity. And the reason why Mr. Bauman has chosen not to disclose this technology is that he thinks humanity is simply not ready for it yet. And we may soon see why. So this leaves us with a very big question. What happened? Why are we not driving in water-fueled cars? Why are we not receiving electricity from the atmosphere or the vacuum of space freely? Peter Lindemann is an authority on the radiant energy Tesla was talking about, and he proposed 4 forces, actually. And the first being the banking system. And I know what some of you may think. Oh, here comes that guy with that Illuminati conspiracy theory. No, we're going to leave that behind. So in a free market economy, everybody is free to earn as much money as they like, but only in the form of the dollar or the euro or whatever currency you have. So you're not going to be paid in gold anymore, for example. So if I would have a system with which I can raise my own capital without borrowing it from a bank, the control of this banking system is lost. So naturally, they do everything to stop this. You can even see this in current day technologies, like photovoltaics and wind turbines. They're already being regulated more and more because of their devaluating capacity. It's even on the cover of The Economist. It's not a big secret or conspiracy. And that brings me to the second force, national governments. Because governments found out that the true policy that actually works is called an eye for an eye. So it's constantly jockeying for influence in world affairs, and it's survival of the fittest, basically. So imagine when one nation or one party in another nation achieves the ability to generate their own power. The balance of power literally shifts from the government to that other nation or party within that nation. And everybody will want this technology, and at the same time, everybody will want to prevent the other from getting it. So to prevent this chaos, governments do something smart. They issue a restriction on any patent or invention that can give an opponent an advantage over the government in power generation. It's called invention secrecy.